So without further ado, our first speaker is Dr. Muhammad Reza Tirtawinata. He is a renowned expert in tropical fruits from Indonesia. Dr. Reza has a doctorate in pomology from the IPB University Bogor. His career spans over 4 decades, including holding key positions as a researcher, an R&D director, and currently as a consultant for tropical fruits. He is also the founder of the Nusantara Durian Foundation and the Nusantara Avocado Foundation, and has contributed to the release of 19 tropical fruit cultivars in Indonesia. He is an accomplished author and speaker, and he has penned 7 books, delivered presentations at many national and international fora, and written extensively on fruit conservation and cultivation. So without further ado, we welcome Dr. Reza to share his insights. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Dorothy. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is for short Reza. I've been working in the fruit industry for over 40 years now, since I graduated from IPB Bogor. So I handle a lot of fruits, especially the major ones, which is now very popular in Indonesia. That is durian, avocado, and longan. But today I would like to share my experience on wax apple, or here in Indonesia we call it jambu air. So let me share my slides. Is it available?
Yes.
Fine. So this is the title of my presentation for today. First of all, I want to go back to the history of wax apples in Indonesia. There are 2 types, namely Syzygium samarangense, which are sweet wax apples. They are much bigger, much sweeter. And then there's another type called Syzygium aqueum, or the bland and sour wax apples. They are much smaller. And here we use them for what we call rujak. That is a snack eaten with sugar, brown sugar. So the sweet wax apples are of commercial value, although we don't have until now big companies that grow wax apples in a commercial scale. So 3 of the most commercial varieties right now here in Indonesia is Citra, which I found it myself in 1990. And then Dalahari, it's another red variety. And then you have Madu Delhi Hijau, which means green honey from Delhi. These are the most common commercial varieties that you can find in the supermarkets in Indonesia. There are a number of introduction varieties from abroad, namely the King Rose, Kyojok, Red Taiwan, Green Giant, Black Pearl, Black Diamond, and so on. These we exchange or we collected from friends overboard from Thailand, Taiwan, Malaysia. And then we have local varieties, which are scattered around the country, namely merah means red, while ijo means green. So the same type of chinchalo, but different colors. And then there's also lilin, which means candle. There are red ones and green ones, sukaluyu, champlong, and so on. We have quite a lot of local varieties, but none of them are considered commercial. So they just grow in backyards or home gardens, and they are eaten for the family, so not sold to the market. Skin color, you can see we have white ones, pink, red, blackish red, light green, greenish red, and you have also a mixed gradation from, let's say, white to green or green to red, and some are of some mixed stripes. As for the flesh texture, we have some dense crunchy varieties, which are the most favored, and then the medium crunchy, and then the light crunchy. So here you can see the varieties that we grow in Indonesia. Citra is the most famous. Dalhari is also available during season. And Madu Deli Hijau is more popular in Sumatra Island. And then the others here are quite a number of collections. One here, the red button or white pearl, are very small varieties. These we can use for the rujak, yeah, for snacks. Yeah. And then here's the giant sukaluyu. It's a very large size, over 200 grams, but the sweetness is very little, not too sweet. Okay, and then here is a map of Indonesian islands, and as you can see that mostly the center of wax apple production is in Java Island. You can see here number 1 to 5. Demak and Pati, this is located in Central Java Province. And then Sleman and Gunung Kidul in Yogyakarta Province. Bekasi in West Java. Tangerang in Banten. And Madura Island. That's a dry island, so the wax apple grows everywhere on the island and are very sweet. And one place that's famous is Deli Serdang in North Sumatra. Here, they also grow wax apples. This doesn't mean that other islands don't have wax apple, but they are not of a commercial scale. So they just grow here and there. Here you can witness wax apples grown in home gardens or backyard trees. On the left is what you call Madu Deli Hijau. Otherwise, the color is not always green as its name is, but sometimes it turns white or reddish. It depends on the soil and on the sunlight, the sunshine. And on your right, you see Chitra, the most famous variety. These can grow up to 200, 250 grams each, but you have to cultivate them intensively. Otherwise, if you just let them grow, maybe the average Chitra is only 100 to 120 grams. This is a wax apple orchard in Central Java in Demak. You can see a monoculture plantation of wax apples, namely Citra here and Merah Delima, two of the most popular variety in Demak. And then this is what we do now in Indonesia. We try to develop a new technology which is called CFP, or containerized fruit plants. So you grow wax apples in containers or in pots. So the pots here or the containers are approximately 150 liters, 60 centimeters in diameter and 60 meters height. And then the trees are 2 to 3 years old. So given a spacing of 2 by 2 meters, you will get almost 2,000 to 2,500 plants per hectare. And one tree here is designed to give a production of maximal 20 kilos per year. So comparing wax apple in orchards and CFP, you can see here plant spacing in orchards are 7 by 7 meters. That means 49 square meters or almost 50. that gives only 200 trees per hectare, while in containerized fruit plants, you give a spacing of 2 by 2.5 meters. The extra half meters is for working purposes. So here you get the plant population in orchards around 200 plants per hectare, and in CFP you get 2,000 plants per hectare. And then initial fruiting in orchard trees start from 2.5 to 3 years, because it takes a long time to vegetative growth to a certain size, which is 2 or 3 meters high. But in CFP, you only need 1 to 1.5 years, because it is designed to grow at tallest 2 meters high, no more than 2 meters. So it's manageable. And then the initial harvest, you can get 10 kilogram per tree per year in orchards, starting from the third year and growing every year. And in CFP, you can start with 3 kilograms per tree per year in the first year. So this is the benefit of growing in CFP. You start earlier and then you start harvesting. Maximum harvest for orchards with a spacing of 7 by 7 is approximately 180 to 200 kg per tree per year. And for CFP, that is 20 kilograms per tree per year. So if you multiply the numbers of trees and the kilos, then you will have the production of 36 ton per hectare per year for orchards. And for CFP, it's up to 40 tons per hectare per year. And I have this quality control, which is much, much better in CFP, because the size is very manageable, and then you can get the premium quality fruits. For orchards, harvesting is maximum 3 times per year. But in CFP, you can make the tree fruit all year round. That is by making, let's say, you have 12 trees, and then you can make each tree harvested every month. So if you have 1,200 trees in CFP, then you can have 100 plants to harvest every month. So there's also a supply for everybody, especially the supermarket, for wax apples. For orchards, because the trees are growing high, over 3 meters to 6 meters, it is difficult to do some bagging. So the quality may be medium to high. But for CFP, because it's very short, up to 2 meters, then you can do the bagging from fruit flies. It's easy to do. And then you get a high to premium quality fruits. And selling price for orchards, very fluctuative, because you have a harvest on the same month, on the same year. Let's say you get a harvest in May or June. So everybody at that time harvest wax apples, and then the prices goes down. But for CFP, because you can harvest every month, the price is stable and high. So here are the preparation for growing CFPs. First of all, you have to have superior quality grafted plants. It depends on what variety you want to grow, the red ones or the green ones. It has its own market. But in Indonesia, I think consumers prefer the red color, the red ones. And then you have to prepare the containers or pots, which are made from woven plastic, clay, ceramic, or wood. Depends on what you have near your place. And then planting media consists of topsoil, compost from vegetative plants, and then manure from cow or goat, and of course sand. So each plant, depend on its kind of fruits, have a different composition of these planting media. For example, if you want to grow wax apples, then you must add more sand in order to get a more dry media, because wax apples love dry media. And then the spacing among containers, 2 by 2.5 meters. Then you have to have this drip irrigation system for each and every CFPs, because each containerized fruit plant in the dry season needs at least 15 liters of water every day. In order to get that number correctly, you have to use an automated system. So that is why you have to have a drip irrigation system, maybe connected to your computer, IoT, and so on. For the initial growing phase, you have to do a lot of pruning for making some ideal branching structure. That is an umbrella shape of the canopy. So you have a 360 degrees round shape canopy where the fruits can hang on there. So it's very important to do this pruning since early in the growing phase of vegetative grow. And then this method of inducing flowering. In Indonesia, we have two seasons, that is the rain season and the dry season. But then we can still manipulate these trees to flower even during the wet season. That is by doing strangling, water stress, or some boosters. We apply also liquid organic fertilizers. An example, it's made from fish or sea byproducts. Let's say seaweed, yeah, or leftovers from sea fish, because the fish, we export the fillet abroad, and then the remains, the skin, the bones, we crush them, and then we produce these liquid organic fertilizers. For pest control, we only use fruit bagging. If necessarily needed, we use organic insecticide, because if we use chemical, this will be a hazard for our own health. You know that water wax apples have very thin skin, so there might be a residual effect if you spray with chemicals. Fruit quality control, in order to get some larger fruits and higher prices, you have to do some thinning out during fruit set. And the time of harvesting is very important, because you want to spread the harvest all year round, not on a particular month. So this is how we do the flower induction. That's by using a piece of wire. You put it on the main stem, and then use some pliers, yeah, to twist these wires. And then these wires will get into the phloem or the bark of the tree. Yeah. So after it is strangled, you leave it for 1 to 2 months, and the tree will start to flower. During the wet months, you have to cover the media in the pots with plastic in order the rainfall doesn't get into the media. So still creating a dry season for the trees. These are from flower bud to fruit set. There are no problems up to date for flower to fruit set. And here is an example of a Chitra variety, young fruits on the tree on the left. And then you have to do some bagging or covering with plastic because there are a lot of fruit flies. Yeah. And Chitra at 70% maturity, you already get a pink color. This is suitable for harvesting and shipping in a long distance, let's say 2 days, 3 days. But the quality of the fruit is not yet maximal. So if you see on the right side, that's a chitra at a fully ripe quality, and then that's the best quality, but you need to get them to the consumers within 1 or 2 days. Here is a different variety called Dalahari. Yeah, the fruit is much rounder and it has stripes. It looks like stripes, yeah, during the fruiting here. And the fruit is round because it is seeded. They have seeds inside. So Chitra is seedless, but Dalhari is seeded. Now, wax apple fruit quality depends on first the genetic superiority. We have to select fruits, mother trees, which have large red fruit over 150 grams, sweet and crispy flesh, 3 times harvest per year, and high yielding. These are the qualities that farmers want to plant in their garden. And then the agroclimate. First, you have to have full sunlight, high intensity, 10 to 12 hours per day. That's ideal. In a lot of places where there are, let's say, in the mountainside, you usually get cloudy by mid-noon. So that is not the place for growing wax apples. Wax apples prefer to grow better on the lowland near the seaside. The temperature ranges from 26 to 32 degrees Celsius. Air humidity around 60 to 70%, which is moderately dry. And low rainfall up to 1,800 millimeters per year. And then there are the GAP, good agricultural practices. You plant them in CFP plus drip irrigation. You use organic fertilizers. You prepare fruit protection, bags, and so on from pests. Time of harvest is very important. And then post-harvest handling. This post-harvest handling is one of the most difficult for fruits like wax apples, because if they get scratched, then the price goes down. And it's not transportable to long distance unless you have boxes or some sponges, yeah, to cover them. Now, the sweetness of wax apple, there are some that are very sweet, which bricks are over 13 degrees. That is considered very sweet for wax apples. Medium sweet, 11 to 13, and light sweet from 8 to 10. Here is a sample of Chitra variety. These one are harvested from the orchard, and as you can see, the quality is rather low. You only get 8 point something for the bricks. So not too sweet, but you get a bountiful harvest. But if you grow in CFP, then you can select the fruits you thin out and let them grow to a certain size. And you can see here that the sweetness is almost 15 degrees bricks. So very, very sweet. Now, that's a compensation for the loss of productivity, but then you get a very quality, and people are willing to pay high for these kind of fruits. So harvesting, home picking, you just break off the branch, eat it with your family, while from kampongs or from orchards, they sell it on the streets by a street vendor. And from CFP, you can reach the supermarket for premium quality. They give a good price. Here is a fruit stall display, yeah, on the street. You can see the prices here in USD. Yeah, prices are relatively low if you compare to, let's say, durian. Yeah, this is a minor fruit actually, wax apple, so not too popular. But then everybody likes it, knows it, then get to taste it. So thank you. I think that's part of my presentation. I give it back to Dorothy.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reza, for the insightful assessment of the varietal diversity that's available in Indonesia on wax uh, apple. I just have one question before we move on. How widely has the CFP technology been adopted in Indonesia, and what are the challenges that you may have encountered in implementing it on a larger scale?
The technology of
How widely has this technology,
oh
CFP, been
okay.
adopted in Indonesia?
Uh, I've been working on this CFP for, let's say, over 20 years. But then Indonesia is a very large country, so you cannot get it spread out that fast. I would say that now only a few companies, estates, yeah, that grow fruits, they are trying to cope with this new technology because they need computers and they need more investment, which is not available for smallholders or for farmers. So farmers still grows in backyards or orchards the most, and then the big companies they start now growing with CFP. So that's the situation of wax apples now in Indonesia.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reza. I believe if there are any other questions for Dr. Reza, we will be compiling these and addressing them at the end of the session. Thank you, Dr. Reza.